Two Coaches, One Grizz. On today's podcast, we got a little bit of a surprise retirements. We're going to talk some NBA playoffs, but we have to begin with the surprise trade request from the esteemed multi. What is it? The do everything
/ 2.0.
Yeah, the Swiss Army knife of the 49ers, Deebo Samuel. And then we're going to dive into some NFL draft talk. So, Coach, kick it off for us.
Well, I mean, first of all, I think that he's trying to ride the coattails of all these other guys, signing big contracts, getting a lot of money. I don't think that he's at that position just yet. As valuable as he is, as important as he is to that franchise, I don't think that he commands top 5 receiver money. I really don't. I believe that he can get there after this season. He still has a couple of years left on his contract. And I do think that if he has another monster year, then yes, he can say, hey, back up the Brinks truck. Let's unload it now.
Grizz, thoughts?
Wasn't he complaining, though, he doesn't want to be used that way anymore? I think I read that he doesn't want to be used in that way anymore. And that's the way that you've become how special you are.
But again, if you don't get used that way,
because I still don't see him yet as a pure
receiver,
100% receiver. So you shouldn't be getting that money yet. Let me see one more year. You just lost the guy that apparently was the guy that ran that offense and put you in those positions. So let's see if you could do it without him.
The other issue with Deebo is he gets injured a lot.
Because he's the guy that's being ran as a running back.
In all fairness, the last year was the year of least injuries, and they used him the most. 2 years ago, they didn't use him like that. He goes injured. The year before that, same thing. He misses 6 games all the time.
Most likely he goes down again, though, sooner rather than later.
Right.
That's the problem.
So I think he's a victim of his own success and his unique skill set, right? And the way that they use him and his ability to affect both levels of the offensive game. And we've kind of seen this before, right? Maybe not specifically in this respect where you have a wide receiver running back, a WRB, if you will, right? Where they use him that way. But think, Jimmy Graham from the Saints, where he was essentially their number one receiver, right? And he wanted to command number one top receiver money, but they would not give him that due to the kind of the agreed upon play scale of he's a tight end.
His classification.
Correct.
Which is the same thing that Miami's going through now with Gesicki. Gesicki wants to be reclassified as more of a receiver than a tight end. But with the Deebo Samuel situation, I think that he leaves a lot on the table by, number one, if Grizz is correct, not wanting to be used as a dual threat player. And number two, I think he's pushing his chips in too quickly to the middle, right? To the table. It's not the time to shove.
He just got excited because,
he sees everybody else getting money.
A bunch of receivers got paid over the season. He's like, "Where's my money?"
So is he pre-flop or is he on the flop? Should wait for the turn.
I believe he's on the flop. He should wait for the turn.
He's out of position.
And right now he's out of position, and his hand,
no pun intended.
And his hand is not a made hand. He's still searching for that right card.
He's got a bunch of outs.
He's got a bunch of outs, but he doesn't have the main hand.
Is he on a draw?
He shouldn't go all in.
He's on a draw.
He should not go all in without having the nuts.
Exactly.
Yeah, I struggle to kind of explain it, but I think he's like one of those where how do we explain him? How do we classify him? Because most of the big contracts that we see at every position, the guys that command the big money, they fit within the framework of, okay, this is established. We've set a precedent for this before, and there really isn't much of a precedent for him to kind of gauge where they should,
What's the market for a wide receiver, running back?
Let's back up a little bit. Okay. Devontae Adams, top receiver the last 4 or 5 years?
Probably.
Right? No? Somewhere around that? Okay.
I agree.
Tyreek Hill, the last 3 years. Nobody's been better than Tyreek Hill.
But you're talking about guys that are pure receivers with different skill sets.
But he's trying to put himself in that category. And he has not had a season. He had one season now where he was a breakout player.
And that's my point. What I'm saying is that he doesn't fit
Tyreek is not
within any category.
100% purest wide receiver. He's also a special teams guy. He's not the prototypical big guy.
They use him in running plays.
They use him perfectly.
They run the
so
jet
he's a
sweep
specific type of receiver. But his numbers the last 3-4 years command the kind of money he's asking. Yeah.
And again, Deebo
does not.
Deebo at this moment does not. But be it because of injury, be it because of different factors, he just has not been able to put 3 or 4 years together. Now you tell me he's had 3 years of this success, then I'm looking at you and say, okay, yeah, they gotta throw money at him. They have no other choice.
I can also be, if I'm Deebo, I can also say those 2 receivers you just gave me were being quarterbacked by probably the 2 best quarterback, in the league. And I've had Jimmy G over here, slinging me the rock.
At times.
Nothing personal.
And at the end of the day, I'm making moves with this kind of quarterback. If you give me that kind of talented quarterback, watch me go. That's if I'm Deebo.
Well, can we argue on the other side, if you're looking at it from a front office perspective, like his usage and the way that they use him can be long-term directly tied to his availability and health.
That's what Gil just said, though.
I'm just making...
He played the most this year doing that, and he got injured more when he didn't play like that.
Right. But is it, and again,
however,
to his
long
point,
term, maybe that doesn't work.
We're explaining it so everybody understands.
If you take a look at his body type,
is it an anomaly?
He's a big, strong kid.
I still think that's you can only play in the way he's playing for a good 3 years. Before that, your body would take, he needs to become a 100, like just a receiver threat instead of that running. It's a good option to have now. Like we're going to use the Dolphins are going to use Hill like that, I'm sure. Maybe not the same kind of build, but it's good to use him in that fashion.
It's crazy.
But he needs to become more. I need to see like 100 receiving, season.
And it's crazy that we're talking about that, right? Because in that role that they used him, right? An amazing amount of touches. He had 1,400 yards receiving and 6 touchdowns in the air, and then another 365 on the ground.
Yeah, 17 all-purpose.
And a lot of his receiving yards came from the backfield. Because what they do is they'll motion him back there. They'll play action, boom, and they'll throw it, and they use him in that arena. So again, where is he going to go? That they're going to have the offensive coordinator that's going to game plan like that.
Right. Well, remember that Shanahan is the offensive coordinator. The other guy, forgetting his name right now, the one that just got hired, McDaniels. Okay, he was the offensive coordinator by title, but Shanahan's.
But I get what
he's the one calling the plays.
But again, I think that you're
Coach. We're discussing.
That's what I'm saying. No, but what I'm trying to say is that where else is he going to go? That he's going to have that type of offensive coordinator.
100%.
Like you just said, where is he going to go with a guy that's going to use his goods the way they're using him?
Use him in the unique way that they're using him.
Correct.
Now, if we're looking at the analytics thing and we're looking at what his value is to the organization, 1,700, almost 1,800 scrimmage yards, and he accounted for almost 30% of the offense, last season. 4th highest percentage overall in the NFL. So if you just look at that, right, in a vacuum, cover everything else up, he may command that money.
Yeah, but
maybe not highest paid.
If you're trading for him, you got to pay him, and then what are you giving away too? You're going to be giving away. You think he's going to be cheap?
Well,
the Niners. First of all, I don't think he gets traded. I think he stays put. I think once they get their quarterback situation, set up, whatever it's going to be, I think he stays there. But if Grizz, get rid of him,
we've seen that side of the playbook before, where dudes put pressure, and it's take a crap or get off the pot, for lack of a better term, with the guys. And sometimes a lot of times it works, and sometimes it doesn't.
He's not that big of a guy yet to like run that team and be like, hey, they're gonna be like, who are you? I mean, at the end of the day,
and he's all pro. Come on.
Yeah, but he's not Devontae Adams, man. He's not Aaron Rodgers level of like how great you are that can like hijack your team.
Are you mad for his agent playing this game?
No, that's what an agent's supposed
Right.
to do. I don't care about agents.
I think they're going to do whatever they can to get max money, which I get it.
Hey,
I understand it's part of the game.
If someone offers them 2 first-round picks,
but now they got to understand now that San Francisco's the one with the leverage.
Of course.
So are you going to play hardball? Or are you going to be smart enough to say, all right, let me play this season, let me get my numbers, and then I can get my payday?
Yeah, because listen, and I think we can all agree that this can easily backfire him with his comments of, I'm not comfortable with the way that they're using him. You are in this position to be able to do this, and you are all pro this year because of, and only because of, the way that they used you this year.
I just also think that the Niners made it far in the playoffs last year. They're a good team with a great defense, I think. I don't think they're going to want to like lose talent and digress unless it's the right package. But I just think that he's right now, hey, man, I want the money. It's April, draft time. Wait till the draft is over. Wait till you got June and July come through. The guy's going to be fine. He's going to probably get those numbers, and then next year, have at it, man. Get your money.
Now, if you're looking at it from the 49ers perspective, maybe you look at it where it's like, all right, let's flip this on its head and turn this into a situation where we trade him, get multiple assets back, and, make the team as a whole better.
But
this is my
don't they have what's this guy, the quarterback, right? They need to have players to prove that what they traded for.
When you say multiple assets, where are those multiple assets coming from? How good are they?
No, I will. Right, and I will say this: that it only takes one team to get enamored by a player to mortgage the house on.
Again, we saw that with Cleveland. The Browns have done that.
It could happen,
and have set the ceiling.
Oh, and the Dolphins didn't do it with Tyreek Hill.
I don't think that you become enamored like that with him just because the guy produces. You put him in with other good players, and I think Tyreek Hill is going to be a great asset to the Dolphins. I really do. I mean, again, if Tua sucks this year, it's because he sucks. Yeah. Not because he doesn't have the weapons or any of those things.
But what does Tua need? He needs weapons to prove himself,
right. And we have a Waddle. We have it. There's plenty. So again, what I was saying, becoming enamored with Deebo. Number one, if Deebo said like you and Grizz were just talking, I don't want to be used like that. So that takes away half of what I would like to do. Okay,
of his potential value.
Number two, are we the type of offense that are going to exploit what he really does? Mm-hmm. How good are we at that? Okay, as he goes to the Green Bay Packers, are the Green Bay Packers going to take away touches from those two running backs? Are we? I mean,
exactly that. If I trade for you, I want you to run the ball. That's why you're good.
Now, if you were telling me,
and I'm trading for you, and I'm going to put money in your pocket,
exactly.
Obviously that's the end goal.
Now, again, we're thinking big picture here. If I'm saying if we're in this situation, Sean Payton's still the head coach of the Saints, I'm like, yo, you guys better not trade him to the Saints because that's a potentially
but again
real bad situation for the rest of the league.
But again, he has to be willing to do the things that he does.
Right.
He can't go as half a guy.
Understood. No, and I think we agree on all those points.
So again, that's my whole thing. Like I think he's like I said earlier. I think he's shoving way too early. I think he needs to keep the chips on the side and see what the turn is.
I think we've spent way too much time on Deebo.
I agree.
I think let's go into maybe segue to the draft.
Sir,
where maybe,
I thought it was a productive and insightful conversation.
I think it was too, but I think once we got to the point where it's like, all right, bro, who are you? Like, I love you, Deebo. You were on a bunch of my fantasy teams, right. But who are you, bro?
It
Relax,
remains
man.
to be seen.
I know what you want.
Was this year an anomaly, or can he sustain this level of success?
So you've given me a year of it. I need more. I need more before
if you want
I
all
break
that money,
the bank.
all that money you want, I need another year.
And for the Niners, for my brand new quarterback that I traded up to get, number 3 overall, I don't want to take away talent from this guy. Because then what? I got to go draft more talent. That's going to take some time.
And then hope that guy works out in 2 years.
Speaking of drafting talent, segue. So last week we covered, picks 1 through 9 or 1 through 8. Excuse me. of this year's draft and what their needs versus, best player available are at that position, potentially, right? All pontification at the end of the day. So this evening, we're going to go through picks 9 through 20 in preparation of the draft later. Next Thursday. So
right around the corner.
Yeah, it is right around the corner. Coachy, talk to me.
And speaking of draft choices, the 49ers don't have a draft pick in the first round. So,
again, leverage.
There's that situation. So, number 9, the Seattle Seahawks are sitting at 9. Offensively, they've lost their key cog, their best player. Russell Wilson is now with the Denver Broncos. So now that puts them in a position where Drew Lock is their starting quarterback. They need a quarterback, but again, in this draft, at 9, there aren't any, in my opinion. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't think any of the quarterbacks available are worthy of a top 9 pick because I think they're all works in progress. So therefore, looking at their other qualities, they have the number 9 rush offense. They had the 24 ranked pass offense. They were 26 in sacks, 28 in sack percentage, and 9 in yards per point. They were very effective as an offense. Defensively, they were 17th against the rush, 31 as a pass defense, 21 sacks with only 2 per game, 30 in sack percentage, and their defense was extremely effective at 17.6 yards per point, so number 1 in yards per point. Looking at these things and looking at the guys available, I think that at 9, they're going to go with Jermaine Johnson, the defensive end from FSU. Mm-hmm. They need defense. I mean, again, Pete Carroll's a defensive guy. He's not going to shy away from that. I think it puts them in a position to go ahead and get a good player, a stud guy, a rush guy, 6'4", 259. And at 9, I think he fits perfectly for what they do in their 4-man front. And he becomes their draft pick at 9.
They have so many needs. It's kind of insane.
Yeah.
I mean, but across the board, we're talking about quarterback, offensive line, DB, edge rusher, it's just across the board.
They're in a complete rebuild.
Yeah. Correct.
They are now in a complete rebuild. So we were talking about over-unders in the games the other day. I don't think they win 4 games. I think they're going to struggle. They're going to struggle. They're going to struggle mightily.
Oh, we got the release for the schedules in 2 weeks, so it's going to be fun. Yeah, it's going to be fun to go down that and see who's winning and losing games.
Yeah, so and some people see them taking a corner. Right, I've seen that on several kind of mock drafts.
And again,
they need that help. They need everything. So
if Sauce Gardner is available, they might take him. Even though I think they'll pass on him because I think DB wise they're still okay. I don't think it's a huge need.
You did say they were 31st in the pass.
31 in pass defense, but that also has to do with pass rush.
The rush. That's why the defensive end helps out too.
Okay, they were 21 in sacks.
But they're gonna definitely
almost last in sack percentage. So that's why I'm saying when you take a look at effectiveness by them making you drive 17 yards per point, that means that your DBs were limiting the pass and making you long, drawn-out drives. So that's why I'm leaning more towards the edge rusher than the DB.
Yeah, no, and then that division right now is, I mean. Yes.
It's top heavy.
Yep.
49ers are strong, but they're not, they're beatable. And you got the Rams who continue to mortgage their children and their grandchildren.
That's fine.
It's worked so far.
And it's worked so far, which is hilarious.
And after watching him speak at the UM clinic, you can see why they do what they do on offense, and it's pretty impressive.
I mean, and again, like you said, watching him speak and kind of just experiencing that guy's aura and who he is firsthand. I mean, you can see why the Rams chose him 5 years ago and why he's been able to ingratiate himself with all pro players. Who's this 32, 33-year-old dude? And he's already been to 2 Super Bowls in his 5-year career. Guy took over at 30. I took over a program at 29-30, and we're still figuring it out.
And let me tell you, the fact that you guys have met him and you've seen the aura of this guy in person, just from seeing him on TV, the fact that we keep saying they mortgage the future, I have a feeling in a few years he'll figure out how to fix that. So you know what? It's only a bad thing if they didn't win the Super Bowl last year. They won the Super Bowl, so now you have the caveat of now being allowed to, hey, you know what?
It buys him another 3 or 4 years.
If you're going to do something, at least win it.
And like I said, with the way, and I know we're deviating a little bit from what we're talking about, but watching him, the game plan, the things that they do, he does a really good job. Like you were mentioning San Francisco a little while ago. He's in that mold and in that group of young OCs, head coaches that are really, really good at what they do.
Right, and building on top of a basic, foundation, and just building layers on top of it that you're like, damn it.
And that's why the Seahawks need to go back to that defensive strategy and start building back up their own version of the league.
Again, probably next year they'll find a quarterback because there's a couple of quarterbacks that'll come.
The fact of the matter is the division is stacked. If you're going to rebuild through within the lines and especially the defense, because that's what's going to keep you in games until you find the next quarterback.
That's what they hung their hat on to win the Super Bowl. So
correct.
Pete Carroll is one of those kind of guys.
All right, so moving along pick 10, we got a lot to cover here.
At number 10.
Yep.
At number 10, we have the Jets, who picked up that draft choice from Seattle. Again, since we already mentioned it before that they're going to lean on defense, I think here they're going to go. Some of the guys have been talking about the DB that you were just talking about, Sauce Gardner. I don't think they're going to go in that direction. I think they're going to take Devin Lloyd, the linebacker from Utah.
Oh, wow.
He's a stud. He's a player. He's a guy that's going to be, again, making plays all across the boards.
See, and your analysis, right, it's spot on. Again, this is another team that has so many needs that, pick and choose. Like, which spot do you need? It's a deep draft. You can probably find somebody, but again, this is another popular spot where you see DBs, right? Because they were so terrible in their pass defense last year.
But I'm also thinking who their head coach is. What defense?
What does he do? Correct.
What defense did he run
right, and that's
at
what I'm
San
saying.
Francisco?
You're bringing a different perspective, which is appreciated when everybody goes for the low hanging fruit.
You got a linebacker, 6'3", 232, that played in one of the best defenses in the country. Because Utah, their defense has been amazing the last 4 or 5 years with Willingham. You can hang your hat on that defense. They're going to run the ball down your throat, and they're going to play great defense. You take the under. You see a Utah game, you're taking the under because they're going to play great defense. So, again, I think by going there, you've got your Russian and Thibodeau. You've got your linebacker. And now, if you get another pick later on down the road, what have you, then you can take a look at a couple DBs that are left and move in that direction.
Former DB defensive guy, like I see Sauce Gardner there if he's still there. Derek Stingley from LSU. It's going to be real hard to
deviate from that.
To deviate from that because those are, it's a safer pick, and those guys, you put them on an island day one, and they're going to figure it out.
My concern again, and Stingley was hurt, hasn't played in a year and a half.
And that's another guy that needs to prove right.
He had a great pro day, did some great things, but still, it's not the grind. And in the NFL, it's a grind. Ahmad Gardner, I think he's exceptional. He's a great DB, great athlete. But again, the majority of his games were against
he was just a superior talent, right?
American football. He wasn't playing in the SEC. Wasn't playing against the top 10 offenses in the country.
Right.
Where you see a team like, again, you take that linebacker at Utah, played against a good Oregon offense from Chip Kelly. Plays against USC. That again, USC is going to come and play. Oregon with Crystal Ball there the last couple of years have been wars. So there's 2 or 3 quality, four quality teams in the Pac-12 that have made him a good player.
I'm gonna kind of go a little bit off of what we were talking about here and go on the other side of the ball. Jets doing as Jets do, right? I also see within the realm of possibility they double down on their pick from last year, right, with their quarterback and take whatever the best lineman is available at that point.
They could, but as I mentioned earlier, if you take a look at Pro Football's grading of the O-lines, the Jets' offensive line is a really good offensive line. They're up and coming young guys. They're guys that they drafted in the last few years, high draft choices.
Right.
They're not.
It's kind of akin to when they had Mark Sanchez, where they had the Brickashaw Ferguson and the center who's
don't forget they picked up
Ohio State.
They picked up Becton, the kid Michael Becton.
Michael Becton.
And he's a wall. He got hurt. He's a monster. So again,
Mekhi Becton.
Okay.
His name is Mekhi Becton.
Mekhi Becton. He is a wall. He's a stud. So again, I think that offensive line wise, they did their picks last year for offense. So this year, I think they need to focus on the defense and then try to find a couple of gems.
Right.
Like I said, as a running back later on, because their two guys got hurt, things of that nature to just solidify the offense.
No, definitely, there's warranted. And again, like we talked about, we opened up, our draft talk about it. Just so many needs,
Correct.
You could throw darts at the board and you probably find something that they need.
And we were talking off air earlier that offensively, I do believe they will get better just because we tend to forget that their offensive coordinator died 3 weeks before the start of the season.
That they were dealt.
He sadly got into an accident while he was riding his bike and passed away. So again, that rookie quarterback, rookie head coach, a brand new offensive coordinator that has to get replaced by a brand new offensive coordinator. So a lot of things, a perfect storm
of events, right?
That now I think they'll be better off, and they need to focus on the defense.
I'm not pulling for the Jets by any means, but I am pulling for Saleh. He is a grade A human and was a great defensive coordinator, and I hope he is successful. I hope he finds his success because even if he may not be successful here, I do think that he does have the ilk. He's cut from that ilk that would make someone a good head coach. It's just there's only 32 jobs of these in the world.
Correct.
And you got to take it when it's offered for you and see what you can do from there.
Otherwise, you go back to the USFL.
Listen, I pull very hardly for any good person, especially that coach. And they're in the Jets. I'm not a Jet fan. I pull for him. I pull for the people. But I could pull all I want. It's once you wear that color and that jersey and you play in that city, bad things just happen to your team.
Is that the Joe Namath curse? Are you saying Joe Namath? Is that the Joe Namath curse?
Apparently. Okay. I don't know any other curse. I just know that they're terrible.
Whoa.
And as a Dolphin, I know too. It's been 50 plus years too. But what I'm saying is I do pull for people like that, and he will be a good coach. It's just not going to be for the Jets.
Yeah, and we see people that have been successful at that. Now, moving on to pick 11, who just like Grizz, his little soliloquy there about how he feels about the Jets. Yeah, this pick with the Washington Commies, dare I say? I feel that way about
slash Redskins. I think
how could you?
I think they're going with wide receiver Chris Olave from Ohio State. I think that this is the time now where receivers start getting picked up here and there. I think he's a playmaker for them. They can put him in the slot. They can move him around. I think they need a receiver to go along with all they've been doing this offseason. And that's the guy.
So going off of what you just said, and at the receiver position this year in particular, it's kind of, whoever's there when the chips, hit the table. Like, it could be Jameson Williams. It could be Drake London. Like, because, again, I think at that position this year, it's kind of just like, all right, that's the next dude up. Let's,
Well, the thing is, I really think that they'll stay away from just because they don't need.
Yeah, because of his injury
correct,
situation.
and I think Olave is a perfect fit for McLaurin and some of the guys that they have.
Right. No, I agree with you because they have McLaurin is kind of in that mold already, you know. So I get
He's
what
a
you're
blow
saying.
the top off a defense, and Olave is the guy, boom, that you can move around and do things of that nature.
Carson Wentz, though, the current enigma of the NFL, like
it just makes me laugh.
I mean, what?
I don't know what to say, bro. It's.
I think it's still an upgrade for them.
It is
technically.
It is. You go from the Heineken man to this dude who, I mean, came in
and that's why they're going to need to
hot.
draft receivers. They're going to need to do a bunch of stuff to help this guy come back.
The problem is though, like he already did the move where he's like, "Oh, perfect situation." His QB, his personal QB whisperer, went out with Frank Reich, who's his offensive
I thought
coordinator.
that was going to work out for them, man.
And then it didn't kind of work out. And
the Jaguars week 17.
Well, what gives you pause is,
hey, he makes it to the playoffs. He's still a Colt,
right? But that's what I'm saying.
It's crazy.
What gives you pause is he went to the team that had the head coach who was the guy who developed him and was his whisperer.
Correct.
And then the next year he's gone.
Because sometimes it doesn't work out somewhere else. That's just
so. What do you say as a GM or the head coach? Now, if you're in the Washington Commander position,
you upgrade.
It's an upgrade.
You upgraded.
But is that necessarily the best position where, he's going to figure it out now? He's going to go back to that old form.
No,
usually it doesn't end up
But what
that
happens is, and again, I don't think that they found their quarterback. I think they're still in search of. They've got a stopgap. They've got someone that they feel they can do different things with. And again, you start drafting players and personnel.
Correct.
And when your right quarterback comes in, that's when you got it, and you will run. If you happen to hit it with Carson, if Wentz finds some magic, they win 12 games.
And you see, this is the difference between like having the Seahawks in that division. This division is winnable.
Right.
Each quarterback, even Dak, obviously is your best out of this division, but he's always questioned, and the Cowboys are always coming back to earth.
There's other division in the NFL where 8-8 is a potential division winner.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be like that because now, like I said, the Dallas has gotten a better record now, and I think they'll be a little bit better. Maybe now it's going to be like a 10-7 wins it or something like that. But every year, it's a different team that wins this division. Is what I'm saying. They never really have the back-to-backs. I think it's been over 20 years.
You mean the Giants and the Cowboys?
Huh?
It's really kind of been.
Everybody. Eagles have won it.
But the Eagles won it.
Okay, so Eagles.
The last 7 years.
Redskins had won it before they changed their name.
The last 7 years has been tag your it.
Yeah,
and they've been rotating.
No argument.
Last 7 years
I think it's been like that for 20 years.
So that's it right there in that division. So again, I do believe.
Moving along to a team with another quarterback who's in, NFL purgatory at pick 12, Minnesota Vikings.
Here's where I think that they're going to go ahead and pick up a DB. This is where I have Ahmad Gardner going.
Wow.
Yes, I know that I have him down deep.
I haven't seen that anywhere, Coachy.
I have him down deep. I have him all the way at 12. But again, I'm looking at Minnesota, and you're looking at number 26 rush defense, number 28 pass defense. They're number 2 in sacks. So your defensive line, you're taken care of. You're 15th in yards per point. So in offense, you're 17 in rush offense. You're 10 in pass offense. You're 4 in sacks allowed, and you're 5 in sack percentage. So offensively, you've got your parts. You've got your pieces. Your offensive line is solid. Mm-hmm. Okay. Your quarterback, as mediocre as he may be, he throws for 4,000 yards a season, leads in different, or is part of a leader in different offensive statistics and things of that nature. You've got receivers. You're loaded at receivers.
Yeah, they've lost because of their defense. They've been in games scoring almost every game.
Right here, I'm looking at DB or D-line. If Sauce Gardner's available, they're picking him up.
You said D-line. And when I'm looking here, and it puzzles me, like the most recent draft sims some of them have Trayvon Walker going at this spot.
Correct.
And
they've pushed him down a lot. And again, I don't know what's going on with that.
What's going on there?
I can't see him getting down there. I see him being one of the first top 5 guys at 6'5", 272. Being at Georgia the last 2 years.
Running a sub 540.
In a defense that the last 2 years has given up an average of 9.3 points a game or something disgusting like that.
And in that defense, those dudes up front they're expected to spill the ball, not necessarily be playmakers.
The other side of it is they're every down D lineman.
Right. Correct.
They only sub out after 2 series or things of that nature or a long drive. They're every down. He can rush. He can stop the run. He is a complete defensive player.
Georgia does run more of like the mint hybrid 3-4 situation, so it would be interesting to see how he pans out at a traditional 1 or a 3 technique, depending on the defense he's in. I think the Vikings were more of a 30 front defense last year.
I think he can also play a little bit on the edge. He is 6'5", 270. He can be
and he moves.
He can be a defensive end now. He does not have to be a 3 or 1. He can be a defensive end.
Mack truck that drives like a Mini
Cooper.
I'll
So
tell
again,
you
that's why I can't see him getting past the first top 5 teams.
I agree with you.
All of those teams need
that's why I brought it up. Like at 12, you're talking like he's still there. I mean, that's a no-brainer if he's still there. Again, we don't know what's going to happen at the end of the day on draft day. I don't know what substances are in those draft rooms.
As good as Mel Kiper and those guys are, they're full of crap as well, as much as I am. So again, look, and that's why I said I've gone through looking at everybody's offense and defensive makeups to see what they really need. No one in the top 10 really needs a DB. The Giants could. Not necessarily do need one, but to me, I think Sauce, if the guys draft the guys that they need, I do think that Gardner goes to 12. And as we said before, he has not played great Division I football teams.
No,
he really hasn't. So that's where I'm at with 12. At 13, we got the Houston Texans again.
Can they draft an exorcist?
Well, I don't know if they can draft an exorcist, but I do have them drafting a defensive lineman.
Solid.
A young man by the name of Jordan Davis, another D lineman from Georgia. He's the defensive tackle. Again, another monster of a man.
Just big boys from big schools. Men.
No, yeah. It's disgusting.
Coach, going off of
6'6", 341. There's your 3 technique. Yeah. There's your 1 technique right there.
Yeah,
and not to derail your point here, but you don't think that they go wide receiver here, best available off the board, just to, again, and what we just talked about with the Jets, to double down on their young quarterback and give him a weapon on the edge? Because
who's your head coach?
I
don't know. It's been a turnstile there.
Lovie Smith.
Lovie Smith. Got it.
Defensive guy.
Heard.
Okay.
You right?
You still have a few more picks left. It's a deep draft as far as receivers go. And I'm going to tell you something. There's one guy that sticks, that he's been injured, sticks out to me. And whoever is able to pick him up later on as he continues to drop is George Pickens, the receiver from Georgia.
That dude's a stud.
That kid is a baller. I don't know.
He doesn't get enough.
He hasn't,
credit.
Because he was hurt, came back, played now at the end of the year, made some plays, toughed it out, showed what kind of grit he has. Again, I think that you win the game up front. Their defensive lines and offensive lines are not. Remember, they lost Watt a couple years ago. They've lost a lot of that mojo up front. They need to stop the run. They need to get a good guy that can get a good push, and then you can put in your speed guys to get a rush.
And what helps them too is that they're not in the strongest division, so
exactly,
they have a little latitude.
And you're going to play Indianapolis twice. The Colts run the ball
a lot.
Okay, the Colts run the ball.
And more.
I know we're in a passing league, but they run the ball, so you better be good up front, or you're in trouble. At 14.
Oof.
I know. I'm going defense again. Devontae Wyatt, another defensive lineman from Georgia to the Ravens.
That's another great pick.
You, sir, are on the money there. That's what I had.
If you take a look at their defensive stats, they were horrid.
Not the traditional Ravens we know.
They were 21 in sacks, 32 in pass defense, 28 in sack percentage. So they were not good.
And just an aside there, Calais Campbell just re-signed recently. So that may be and again, the Ravens have always had an extremely solid defense. That's what their DNA is. That's who they are. That's what they hang their hat on.
And they are a 3-4.
That could be disgusting.
They do play the 3-4, so he's a perfect 6'3", 304 nose guard.
Yeah,
perfect guy to play right up the middle, boom, boom, and make things happen.
Yeah, and the other picks that I see and what they need, Devin Lloyd is mentioned, several times there, the Utah linebacker that we kind of just talked about. So, but yeah, I think that if they do that and Devontae Wyatt gets there, because that's another guy that could interestingly come off the board earlier in certain situations, just based on preference of the guy that's making the decision.
Correct.
So, that's going to be interesting to see there. Moving along.
With that being said, we got the Eagles at 15. They've got a couple of picks within the next 3 or 4 picks. Mm-hmm. Here's where I think the Eagles, and this to me is a little bit of a reach, but I think he fits in perfectly, because the Eagles they picked up some receivers last year, but I think they take Treylon Burks from Arkansas. That kid is a stud kid. It's a kid that you can line up outside. He's tall. He makes plays. Yeah. He is a playmaker.
Yeah, and I don't,
6'3", 232. He's a load.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there. I do think they need help on the pass rush. That was definitely their weakness defensively. They've
got a lot of slot guys. They got a lot of short slot guys. Jalen Rieger. They've got, again, most of their guys are slot guys. They need a big outside receiver presence. And if Burks is there, I think they take Burks. Okay, if the Giants don't pick up Burks instead of, like I said, London, then I think they'll take London, because they need that big receiver that can make plays.
I was looking at it, and a lot of people had them going O-line here, and there's a couple mock drafts that have them taking a center, because I guess the word on the street is that this is Kelsey's last season or whatnot. But bro, you can find another center, man. Let that guy do his thing. That guy's been a mainstay. He's a 5-6 time Pro Bowler.
Their offense last year was number 1 rushing the football.
They were fine up front there.
Their front 5 was exceptional. They did not. They
need the big receiver. I completely agree on that one.
Again, and kind of the same light of, all right, we're going to give this guy a weapon, and if
plus
he doesn't
they got to
produce,
pick 3 picks later. So
they got number 1 rush offense, 21 pass offense, 7 sacks allowed, 14 in sack percentage.
That's got a lot to do with the guy taking the snaps, though.
But again, like I said, I think they have the offensive line good enough to deal with that. They need another guy to give that quarterback a playmaker.
Yeah.
When you take a look at their defense, they're number 9 against the rush, 11 pass defense, 29 in sacks, so they could use a defensive end or a rush guy, but I think the top 4 or 5 guys are gone by now.
Right. Now you can probably find that next tier dude later on, right?
Correct. So that's why I'm leaning towards receiver, because I think their pass offense needs a lift. Okay, well, no, I do think that Hurts needs a big body guy to throw the ball to. Mm-hmm. When he was in Alabama, he had those kind of guys, and he had the slot guys. So that's where my thinking process is with that. At 16, we got the New Orleans Saints, who just traded up. I think they're going to take an offensive lineman. I think they're taking the guard, Zion Johnson from Boston College.
Oof.
Again, if you take a look at what they've done or what they haven't done, as far as their offense, they got to bring in Jameis Winston. They got to keep him healthy. Okay. They're number 16 in the rush offense, 32 in pass offense, 15 in sacks allowed, 21 sack percentage. Their defense was stellar. So again, to me, you find someone to block up front. to help your boy Kamara, to give your quarterback.
All valid points. All valid points. The whole world believes that they're going wide receiver here because that's where they've been hurting the most. And that's their most glaring need.
Well, don't forget that they just picked up two picks. Okay? They got 16 and 19. Now, yes, you could be right.
One of those picks, I think, will be a receiver.
With that being said, 17 and 18, I don't think those two teams need a receiver.
So it won't change. So it won't change the calculus. There?
I think they can take the chance, pick up that guard, and there's still 3 receivers left.
Okay. Depends on also because the Eagles are that other team that's right before him again. So if they don't take the receiver, then that has to change their mind.
And it leaves them 2 more. Correct. So again,
it'll be a nice little cat and mouse game between those two.
At 17, the Los Angeles Chargers. I'm going to give you a name that I'm sure you haven't even heard of. Travis Jones, defensive line from UConn.
Wow.
Coach, come on. You brought up UConn on our podcast.
Yes, I sure did.
Those Huskies.
Okay, he's 6'4", 325.
You do know you
did he play for Gino?
You
did
do
he
know
play for Gino?
You've used that as a derogatory nickname for.
Yes, for one of our players. You're absolutely correct. Can't be called Wisconsin. He's UConn right now. As soon as he earns it, I'll give him Wisconsin back. However, this kid's a load. This kid's one of their best defensive players. Has been one of the guys that's a rock. He uses his hands real well. They need that inside presence. The Chargers' defense has been horrid. Horrid. If you take a look at it, they are number 20. No, I'm sorry.
Listen.
They're number 30th against the rush. They're 10 against the pass because they have the good ends. They're 19 in sacks. They're 20 in sack percentage. And they're 28 in yards per point. In other words, there's only 5 teams worse than them giving up points per yard.
And that division is saucy.
They better shore up front. They need to give Bosa some downs to rest.
Well, they did. They picked up Khalil Mack from the Bears.
Correct.
So, that might veer.
I think they need a middle lineman,
a presence,
a down lineman to be able to.
Could you imagine if Devontae Wyatt or the other guy, I'm blanking on his name right now, falls there, and that defensive line up front doing that type of damage?
That's if those guys get there, then I do think that some of these teams have misdrafted.
If the GM is listening right now, highly unlikely.
And if all those things happen, there will be a lot of trading up. It'll be a wild first round.
At 18, we got the Eagles again. They've already taken care of the receiver. So now they're going to go defense. They're going to pick up Nakobe Dean, the linebacker from Georgia.
I like it.
Stud ball player. Fits in real nice.
Georgia, man. This is just
if you want to win, you got to take the boys from the top.
Look at some all 22
I've
film.
I've literally heard only Georgia players.
Look at some all 22 film of that guy playing, and he is the epitome of a field general. And
he's a great rush, great blitzer.
Observer throwing
great
out
blitzer.
The word
Georgia.
Grizz, I hear you.
Listen,
that guy,
9 points a game for 2 years. You're damn right. I'm picking up those guys. I'm trying to take as many as I can.
I remember the old school way of Bill Polian. He would always say, "I draft big name, big players from these big schools."
That's right.
Which is great.
If I want to win, that's the way.
And then every now and then we throw in a UConn.
Listen, but that guy, Nakobe Dean, backs up every piece of the hype.
Trust me.
He's a baller. We're back at 19, New Orleans Saints. And here's your receiver. Jameson Williams, wide receiver, Alabama.
You want
That's the pick.
You think that's the pick?
That's the pick.
I got one for you. It's coming. It's the slider, right? 3-2 count. You're not expecting it. Sam Howell.
Quarterback Sam Howell in the first round, there's no way. We can put money on that. As much as I like that guy,
for the Saints,
that's a reach.
What's the line?
First round, there's no way.
What's the line?
There's no way. There's no way.
Give me some calculations.
There's no way. That guy's not even mentioned in the first round. That would be the ultimate reach. That would be the ultimate reach. They'll pick him up. Listen, they can pick him up in the second or third. It's a great pick. I like it. Saucy pick. I like it. But not right now.
But on another day.
on another day or a second round. Listen, not right now. Not right now. You need to pick up that.
No, literally.
The second round, second round. Okay.
Not on Thursday.
Williams, you got to pick up the receiver. You already shored up your O-line. You got a good guy at O-line. That guard's a beast. Now you pick up a receiver, which is an Alabama guy. He doesn't have to come right in. He's still rehabbing.
What odds are you giving me?
At him? At how? Coach, you can get 800. Plus 800. I'll give you plus 800.
I will send you $50 right now.
Okay, so you get 400 if you win.
Yeah.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Coach, not a problem, Coach. Coach, not a problem.
So is this how the sucker bets are born?
Coach, shake it. I thought you were just out here, come on. Now is not the time for you to speak, sir.
I kind of want to save the poor guy, man. Jesus Christ.
Hey, man. Listen,
that's my guy. That is my guy.
You know why? It doesn't matter. Remember, he always calls top pair. He's going to, doesn't matter. Right? He's still going to make this bet.
That's my guy, brother. Trust me. I love that kid. I think that's the guy.
Thank you. But it's too early. Why would I get that guy when I could get two other things? And guess what? If I miss out on the great Sam Howell, I think we'll make it.
I'm not saying
that's what I'm saying.
I would make the pick. I'm just saying.
So you're saying
it's a saucy pick.
No, it is. No, too early. It's a reach. It's a huge reach.
I gotta go get a glass of water. Or the time fire. This sauce is
just water
with milk. I don't know.
We can take shots at the break. I'm just
number 20. Here's your quarterback.
Speaking it into existence.
Here's your quarterback. Number 20 for the Steelers, Malik Willis, quarterback from Liberty. I think they take him. I think they take Malik Willis, quarterback from Liberty, at 20.
Number 20?
At 20.
Coach,
for the Steelers.
For the Steelers.
I really like that pick.
I think
Do they have the sack to do it?
I think they do. Number one,
is a little saucy too, right?
Their quarterback room is extremely thin.
It is.
With the passing.
Listen, my boy to my left here, who runs the show on the back end, might be able to get. Oh, my right. Your left. My bad.
Okay. I was wondering who to the left. I was like, man, is he seeing ghosts?
It's been a few extremely long.
You want to go back on your pick, bro?
I wish we were here on YouTube.
You can't even tell you left from your right. Our esteemed producer
might be able to sneak in some reps in that quarterback room as currently constructed.
They don't run the option, so he's out of gas.
No, he's got an arm on him.
But no,
he was out.
I can see. He's got both arms.
He was out of system. I'm an eight. Don't talk about my guy like that.
I think athletically speaking, he comes in and gives them some tools to work with. He might not be their day one starter, but as the season progresses, he may see some action.
Question,
in game 9 or 10.
Question: like, who's their current offensive coordinator? What's their quarterback coach like?
Canada is their offensive coordinator.
Okay.
He is a motion jet guy. He was and again, they could take Pickett because he coached at Pittsburgh a few years ago. They could take Pickett. I don't think so because it's a cold weather city. Okay. The hands, every time it rains or it's bad weather, he has a fumble situation.
I mean, Pickett did pay at Pitt.
Yes, but again, if you take a look at when it rained or was in bad weather, if it rained or bad weather, he fumbled. So, again, I think they take the athlete here at quarterback.
Upside versus polished.
Correct. Malik has a stronger arm. He comes from Hugh Freeze, who, again, does a lot of different things on offense. I do think that they take Malik Willis here.
Okay.
And that's where I'm going to end at number 20.
And off of that, okay, we're going to end right here. But what I do want to say is if we can get this YouTube live cast going for this draft and things that we've discussed, that we've talked about happen live, you better have that $400 in your pocket ready to rock.
Brother, I'll bring it next Tuesday. I'll bring whatever you want, bro. I'll give you 8-1. 8-1. Sam Howell's not going to New Orleans. On that. He's not going to New Orleans, bro. They're not going to take him.
On that note, we'll be right back with some NBA playoffs. And we are back to talk some NBA playoffs. I do want to give you an update. The Cash App has been sent. This is happening. We get that live stream. It's ready to rock. I want his money on the table during the draft.
Wait. You sent me nothing. What are you talking about? You sent me nothing. No. Don't come on here.
The Wi-Fi's bad here. The Wi-Fi's bad here. Wi-Fi's bad
What are you
here.
talking about? The
Moving
Cash
along.
App has been sent.
We're going to start off with the Miami Heat. They are currently on the Atlanta Hawks 2-0 in the series in the first round of the NBA playoffs. Grizz, you're excited to talk about this. Give it to us.
Well, I mean, we have the number one team in the East playing against, the upcoming Atlanta Hawks, Trae Young company, which last year they made a good run, but reality is setting in. You're playing against Jimmy Buckets and the crew. I mean, the guy
Jimmy's balling.
I mean, he's
Jimmy's
balling.
balling.
He just had
Jimmy's
a
balling.
45-point game, and I saw our esteemed producer once again with the knowledge bringing in a 45-point game, no fouls, no turnover. Never happened in the NBA other than Dominique Wilkins in the history of the league in a playoff game. Also, the guy has, I think, a 45, 5 rebound, 5 assist game that only LeBron and D-Wade have done in playoff history.
He has as many.
He has
many 40-point games
as many 40-point games as LeBron.
As a
in
Heat.
the playoffs. I mean, the guy has solidified himself as a Heat lifer.
And I think the best thing that has happened so far is that Bam got snubbed for defense.
Oh, absolutely. Oh,
I
the
think that
fact
was
that he
the
didn't even
best
get
move.
He
And
didn't even get nominated.
Nominated. I think that's the best thing that could happen for us.
You're not even looking at who should. I mean, hell, I'd give it to Draymond Green the way he's killing Jokic right now in their series. Listen, right now the Heat are playing at the top of their game. I mean, if you have, Hero and Robinson coming off benches, like if you got our shooters going, we're gonna be fine. Hopefully, it's a 4-game sweep because right now the Sixers are about to sweep the Raptors. Last night, Embiid with a turnaround three-pointer because that's how you draw it up, apparently. You call a timeout with 0.9 seconds on a shot clock, and you go, hey, let's get a turnaround three to our center.
He was exercising demons.
Yeah.
That's what he was doing because a few seasons ago,
I know.
he missed a shot in Toronto that sent them and catapulted the Raptors to their championship.
Well, he also missed it, but then there was also a made shot that bounced around three times in the rim.
Is this foreshadowing for following the Antetokounmpo mold here, the big man leading a team to a championship?
No, I don't think the Sixers have what it takes to go all the way. I think they're going to be good, and they're going to end up going. And I think they either bow out to the Sixers or to the Heat. I don't see them going all the way.
Interesting. So
yeah, the Nets series against the Celtics has been everything I thought it would be. I think we talked about this, Gil. You thought the same. I mean, you're not going to just turn on the figurative
light
switch.
You're not going to turn on the light.
And it's just going to work.
Flip the switch, if you will.
Especially when you're playing a team in Boston, which in the last 2 months reminds me of the Bulls from '96. I mean, they've been just crazy good. Tatum, Brown, the crew, they're playing. I trust me, that's the least team. I'd rather play Brooklyn than I'd play Boston if I were a Heat. And then I think we talked about the Bucks, right? They just got beat last night. It's the only series that has a split.
Chris Middleton got hurt.
Yeah, that's not looking good.
That's going to be tough.
Yeah, we'll see the MVP if he's worthy of his salt. Rosen had an amazing game yesterday, but I think it's pretty much safe chalk. If obviously now with Milwaukee's injuries, we might have that as a roadblock. In the West, we got a big problem for the Suns. Booker had 31 points in the first half, on his way to and probably going to have a 60-point game because they weren't even going away with that game, and then get a little hamstring injury.
And it's not that little.
Not that little. You got a 2 to 3 week span, and you come back, you're going to be a little bit
rusty,
and it's going to be in the back of your mind.
You want to tweak it again?
Is Chris Paul rubbing off a little too much?
I mean, it is the Chris Paul. It is the Chris Paul curse. Also,
you know that curse. That's the curse you know.
That I know that one, but I also know the fact that he's 0-14 in games that Scott Foster referees in the playoffs.
Yes, sir.
What's up with that?
That's the wrangle.
What's up with that?
That's the wrangle.
Weird.
That guy
weird.
That's the wrangle.
Has weird
the referee
things
angle,
happen
baby.
to him.
The wrangle. It's incredible.
Having said that, I think they're still fine against the Pelicans because if you lose Chris Paul, I think it's the problem. Because obviously Booker can score and all that, but I think you need that guy that can all right, Chris Paul can lead a team. He'll lead this team at least out of the first round against the Pelicans. We're still talking about a team that was like 5 games under 500.
Zion's not coming back?
No Zion coming.
Come on, Coach.
No Zion.
So we'll see what happens in the next round if they get to there. And then the other series, I mean, Mavs and Jazz, not really paying attention to it. I think Luka's been hurt.
Luka's playing hurt.
Those
in and out.
Yeah, those games have not been fun. Currently, the game as we tape this that has been insane to me, Minnesota and Memphis. Love both these teams. They both have that young talent. I love Ja. Minnesota up in the first half by 26. They blow it. Come back out of the second half. I think we were watching it just 10 minutes ago, up 20. And now I'm looking, they're down 5. This is stupid. Come on.
I do believe, though, that the team that's slightly overlooked is the Golden State Warriors.
Well, that's why I was saving them for the end, because I love me some Warriors.
And I really think that those guys
coming on at the right time.
They're gonna be a problem.
Because like I said, you're not even taking into consideration that Draymond Green's probably the best defensive player we've had for the last decade. That guy he's your everyman Swiss Army knife.
He's a spark plug.
Oh, he's awesome. And now you got Klay. Finally, it took him a little while. Give Kerr the credit. We're losing our spots. It's fine. You get Klay coming back on all cylinders, and now we get Curry, who was out for a couple weeks. Bro, you got Jordan Poole. Wiggins is your 5th best player. Get out of here, man. Let's go.
I want to, make an observation here, and I know that this is reaching because it hasn't happened, but if
you reach, not impossible.
It's fine. Go for it.
Go ahead. Reaching? You? No, go ahead.
Okay.
Sam Howell, first round.
Never.
Not a reach. Go ahead.
No.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Flashback.
Come on.
So sorry.
If Murray comes back, this series has a different complexion. All the reports are that he is medically cleared, has been scrimmaging with the team for several weeks. He looks phenomenal, and it's this was the quote.
When was the last time he played?
It is literally on him.
You're still on
whether
that
he
one.
wants to come back.
You're still on that one.
When's the last time that
you mentioned that guy like 2 weeks ago?
When's the last?
and I'm bringing
When's
it
the
up again
last
because
I
time
see
he
that.
played?
You're still on that one. Huh?
I'm asking a question.
Still on that one?
I need
Because
an
that guy
answer.
had a coming out party in the playoffs, and then he tore his ACL.
Yeah, he's not coming out anymore.
Hold on. What was the last time he played an NBA game?
The playoffs, right? When he
when?
tore his ACL.
Last year?
Last year.
Okay.
I'm not mistaken. But he's been scrimmaging for weeks now.
But the problem is he's going to come back to playoff atmosphere. Not regular season, playoff atmosphere.
Against
a team that is loaded.
I get it.
And hitting on all cylinders. And guess what? And if that guy wants to even try to be a scorer, all right, hey, Draymond, go get him. Come on, man.
I mean, kid.
We just talked about the fact that Klay Thompson, it took him a little while to get back, get his feet wet. No matter how great you are, it's scrimmaging. It's not playing.
And he's been
Why is
scrimmaging
everybody
for
screaming
a
at
few weeks.
Because in this particular topic, you deserve to be screamed at, even though we're still talking in a very
Because you're
low
still
fashion.
reaching. You continue to reach. We change segments. We segue, and you're still reaching.
Sir,
what the hell's going on here?
Sometimes I have to yell because you're so far down in the hole that you're reaching.
Sir,
I have to scream to get you out of this hole.
I'm just providing a little bit of
devil's advocate.
Humor? Oh, sorry, not humor. My bad.
I'm sorry. Are we trying to give some color in the show?
Nah,
Wait. Don't get racist. Calm down.
You mentioned
Calm
Redskins
down.
earlier.
Calm down.
No.
Wait a minute. Be careful. This is a slippery slope we're going to go
Sir,
down.
this isn't MSNBC.
Okay,
We're going to continue.
Here.
We'll be on Joy Reid soon. Keep it up.
Oh God, where do we go from here? Listen,
I mean, we've touched up on all the games pretty much. Right now, everything is
my larger point
working out.
like,
right now, look, for the Warriors, everything's working out fine. The Nuggets are not playing their best ball either. And if they get Jamal Murray, sure, that's a positive, a plus.
Listen,
everything you can ask
And I
for.
go back to cohesion.
Yeah.
To me, basketball is the biggest example of cohesion for a team in any sport. Because if you don't play with that group of guys and know each other off the roll, where he's going to stop, what does he like, where does he want the pass, does he want the bounce pass, does he want the chest pass, how does it doesn't work. It doesn't work. The national championship, the Final Four game between Kansas and Villanova showed you that. Villanova lost their spark plug. Brought in a senior. Guy was a senior. but that team just didn't look right.
Didn't mesh.
They didn't mesh. And the same thing happens in this. We talked about Brooklyn. Same thing. If you're not playing together all year, you're screwed. This is not the right time to try to mesh. So now, he could have a great game. He could score 40. You're right. But then Doncic goes out the window.
I'm looking at it as like, just from a pure competitor like standpoint. Like, if you're good to go, man, and it's who you are. Like, if that's your pure genetic makeup. Like, again, me personally, the competitor that I am, the athlete, like my genetic makeup. If I'm good to go, if
Coach,
I got
you're
anything,
not an athlete anymore.
Again, can we
go ahead?
Move on?
Just go. But it's not about you.
If someone doesn't own your rights, an athlete, if you're really about that life and you think and you got it, like, you go out there and play, man. Because
I'm sure the team has a say, though.
That morale, it's a perception thing. It's this is my team because it was his team when he got hurt. Like, you go out there and give it what you got.
But we just had a player in Clay who's been out 2.5 years for several different type of injuries.
And what did Steve Kerr do? Put his ass right into the lineup.
No, he didn't. He's eased them in. He's playing them on spot time.
If I'm not mistaken, he started right off the hit.
No. He did not start right off the hit.
He didn't start right off the hit.
Steph hasn't even started these 2 games in the playoffs.
They're coming off the bench.
It's coming off the bench. Here's the thing, though. What did I just say? That Clay came in, and for weeks they were losing. He was playing good, but they were losing. They were feeding each other out.
In and they were.
But my point to you is, I get it. Jamal Murray comes back. It's only a plus. However, that's also the decision of the team. Looking out, are we going to put this guy that we think is this great of a talent? Right now, we're down 0-2. We haven't put him in all year, but we're going to bring him in now to the Heat and hope he doesn't get re-hurt and then lose him again for another year. Because Clay tried to come back, remember? And he, probably came back a little sooner.
Too quick.
And guess what? He had to wait another year. And they were doing the same thing with Durant. I think a year or two ago.
He got hurt in workouts.
You got to understand that it's not just about this guy's not coming in and becoming Michael Jordan, coming off the bench and saving this team.
Listen, you don't think
I'm not a basketball guy. I'm just saying.
You don't think Booker can push it in less than 3 weeks?
Yeah.
But again, you got to be careful. You have to be careful with what you got and where you're at.
And you have to believe in your teammates that they can step up and make plays on their. Denver's a good enough team that they were beating the Warriors 3 weeks ago. They won like back-to-back games against them.
But these guys are not full strength. Doncic is hurt a little hurt. Yeah. He's dragging a little bit. So,
and like I said,
I still think that the Warriors have a chance for the whole enchilada.
I think now,
I think they're gonna. If we're putting money on it,
even with Booker, if he wouldn't have been hurt, I still think they could pull it off in the Western Conference Finals. And now with a hurt Booker, right now that's my betting favorite for. I think it's gonna be Warriors against the Heat as of right now to play for the finals.
Oof.
How do you think this pans out for Phoenix though? Like, you think they
win against? I still think they win the next 3 games.
Okay, so you think, all right, let's keep Booker out of this series.
Oh, he's not coming back 100%.
No, he's done. He's done for 2 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks. They got 1 week left in this series.
It's minimum 2 weeks.
Yeah, and they feel comfortable even if they win this series. I've heard that they could go a couple games without him against the Jazz or the Mavericks. Remember, it's matchups. You're talking about a team that won like 10 games over everybody in the NBA. It's not just Booker. Obviously, they're one of their main guys. But you got to step up and make plays. Guy. Once again, I said, Chris Paul to me is a more vital piece to lose.
He's more of the glue.
He's your coach on the floor. Booker, like I said, Booker gave you 31 in the first half, and I still think they were losing or it was tied. So it's you can score a lot, obviously, but they have a lot of talent on that team. They'll be fine for the first round for sure.
Moving along, we're right back with a little surprising news from NCAA basketball. And we're back to close out the show with some surprising news. Right, I don't think anybody really expected this. Jay Wright, Villanova head coach, unexpected retirement announcement. I mean, speculation abound here. What are you guys' thoughts on this right off the hit?
I mean, it's shocking. It was unexpected. It wasn't something I expected. They had a great season. He's got guys coming back. It's not like everybody's graduating. They've got guys coming back. Had a great run. So they're a quality program going into next season.
I mean, that's a well-oiled machine at this point.
And especially under Jay Wright. He does a great job. I think he's and one of our guys said it on the chat the other day that he's one of the most underrated college basketball coaches.
Agreed.
In the business. He's a professional. He plays with 3-star guys, makes them look like 5-star guys. He just does a great job. Now there are rumors flying around that he said a while back on I don't know if he was with Barstool or the Big Cat or one of those that he would be interested in being the head coach. He would be interested in coaching the Knicks. That was what the gist of the conversation. As far as that's concerned, I don't know if he's making that move as a possible antithesis for that. I have no idea. Again, it is shocking because he is one of the better guys. I mean, I saw a post the other day, Roy Williams, Mike Krzyzewski, and now Jay in 3 years. 3 guys in 3 years, those are the blue bloods.
I could have said 10 more years in this business, he probably would have been up with those names for real, with all his stats and his
maybe
accolades.
another national championship.
Because when you see the Final Four this year and it's North Carolina, Kansas, Duke, those are blue bloods. Those are teams that everybody knows. And Villanova's that too. But 10 years ago, they wouldn't have been considered part of that 4. But Jay Wright's made them part of that 4. And it's just like you, man. Shocked. I thought that guy was, like I said, the next, like Krzyzewski, Roy Williams. Just another guy would have retired at Villanova and been gone. But having you said that off air, it makes sense if you're going to try to pursue the NBA. Be good. Leave he's going to make sure he's going to leave Villanova in a good way. Make sure that they're, can find a coach quick, get their recruiting, nothing, everything stays status quo so that he's always going to be a part of them for sure. But maybe he's 60 years old, right?
Yeah, he's a young 60 years old.
Yeah, exactly. He's a young 60. He doesn't even look. I thought he was 50 for God.
He dresses perfectly for the NBA.
I mean,
sir, the best dressed coach in NCAA.
He's our Pat Riley. He would say.
Correct. He's
and he would definitely make that look in New York work perfectly. I think that's his shot. Who knows? Maybe he's driven to give it a shot in the NBA. I don't think it's a bad thing.
So this is something that I was kind of thinking about, and we've kind of discussed this at various angles over the tenure of the show. How much of the current landscape, the way that the game or athletics in general has changed, and the makeup of this current generation and how the youth is perceiving how they think they should be valued in, high school, college athletics, do you think plays into this? And, because he's kind of like that, he's that tail end of that generation of coaches who were regarded in, a certain standard of developing men and stuff like that. And,
but the thing is, where he coaches at and the school that he recruits for is not that kind of school where you're getting those high one and dones. That's been the magic and the secret sauce. That when he gets a team, those kids are there 3-4 years. His 4-year seniors are the ones that, boom, make that run, get to the Final Four, win a championship, make that run, and that's my whole contention. That if it was a more pronounced program where he's getting the 5-star kids that are one and dones, I could understand where you're coming from, and I would probably agree. It wouldn't be something to discuss. But since he's getting those 3-4-star guys, he's got to mold them, make them, and that's one of the things one of the accolades that they gave him was that he makes those guys great men and great players. They're not just a basketball factory; they're a maker of men.
They're a program.
He sets you up for after your basketball career.
Exactly.
So having said that, would you say he has a chance of being a good coach in the NBA?
Man, Grizz, I'll be honest with you, man. You know my disappointment with the NBA.
Of course.
And the way it moves and the way it's gone. For me, it'll be hard just because I think he'll lose taste of it within 3 years. Mm-hmm. Dealing with, like we talked about before, the prima donnas, the load this, the that, I can't play, I can't go. I think it'll be to a point where he'll be like, nah, man, it's not for me. This is not what I'm geared for. Because again, and piggybacking off of what Morales just said, it's a situation where he's used to coaching the guys, talking to the guys, a relationship.
Right. And then make his way back to college, you think?
I think that, I mean, he could, but listen, he's a polished speaker, man. That guy's going to make millions.
And for all we know, again,
TV.
Let's be honest.
That guy will make millions on TV.
Let's be honest. He might just do the ESPN route.
And
the deal might be CBS Sports, Fox, Amazon.
Point.
I mean, now everybody's in the.
That was my next point.
Everybody's trying to make.
Who knows what $20 million deal he has,
Exactly. He could,
Or you're telling me that I just got to fly out Thursday, meet with the team, do the game on Saturday, and then I'm done for the rest of the week?
So...
They
were even talking about putting him in there for Seth Greenberg that's on ESPN now. And all these I like Seth as well. All these, there's so many different channels and cable places that he could work for to be. And he's a very polished speaker. He's exceptional. So I
didn't realize 16 tournament appearances and 21 seasons coaching there.
Yeah.
Really good.
No, I'm telling you, he is a top-notch coach. So, again, if he goes to the pros, we'll see. I don't know how it's going to work out.
And again, to touch on that, he doesn't have that. He doesn't look like or seem like he has that demeanor or that dare I say, pompous attitude or demeanor or perspective of himself that is always chasing the next preeminent position of where I consider myself like a Patino with going to the Celtics or
21 years in Villanova, I think says it all. 21 seasons there, and no one ever says a bad thing about him.
Never heard anything.
The recruiting has never been in question. Right. His name has never come up as being dirty, and it's always been boom, 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 and he checks off all the boxes.
Right.
So that's why, like I said, that's why for me...
Yeah, he seems like an ironclad individual when it comes to his profession. And
he cares about his guys, and his players all speak very, very highly of him. And that's the other thing. You don't see a lot of guys transferring out of Villanova. You don't see that. You see that happening in all these other places. And the guys, no, when you go to Villanova, you're there.
His kids stay. They retain.
You're there. You're there. And you're there for the 4 years. You're getting a degree. So... Like I said, I think college basketball has lost a good one.
Yeah,
and he's...
There's definitely an L for college basketball.
I mean, this could be, we've already seen, like as Grizz said, coaches moving on and retiring, and this could be just the next obvious piece of the changing of the guard and a change of the culture overall. And
I hope it's not a change of the culture, because that team's gonna go south in a hurry.
No, I'm just saying. I'm talking about the sport in general, and then the greater landscape of things. Mm-hmm. So, gentlemen, I think that does it for us this weekend. I just want to, share again, like always, at General Carnitas, our main sponsor. Go ahead and check it out, generalcarnitas.com. All right, all natural beef, meat, Spanish ham, and pork. Let's make it happen. Go check it out. Good stuff. Follow, share, like. Love you all. 2 Coaches, 1 Grizz.